Blueprint presents.
Warrior, peace.
Whether right or if it's wrong, my allegiance remains strong. All the losses and all the wins, my team, oh yes, the Skins. How could I like them so honestly? They're all I know. Skins pride is just so bold. My colors, burgundy and gold. For the Skins, I am a courier, a.k.a.
I am the Warpath Warrior.
I yell in victory. I yell in defeat. But only a taste this sour can come from being at home and being beat. Hello, my friends. I am the Warpath Warrior. Here to talk about all things Redskins. Here to talk with you about the Week 3 matchup between the Washington Redskins and the Cincinnati Bengals. A game that saw the Washington Redskins trail the Cincinnati Bengals by 17 in the first half. That saw the Redskins climb back into the game, ultimately tying it at 24 before taking another 14-point deficit and then scratching and clawing their way back, but couldn't do enough to win as they fall to the Cincinnati Bengals 38-31 at home in their home opener at FedEx Field. What was an astonishing stat to me was the fact that the Redskins have not won at FedEx Field in 7 straight games. Had not occurred to me that it had been that long since we tasted the taste of victory at home. Had not occurred to me that we had been such a bad football team in front of our home fans. This is something that we must bring to an end, something that we must change quickly. It is too comfortable for teams to come into FedEx Field and get a win right now. It is too easy for teams to come into FedEx Field and walk away with a W. We must make it a tough environment to play, a tough environment to come and win football games in. But right now, it is too easy, it's much too easy for opponents to come into Washington, into FedEx Field, and leave as the victors. However, that is something that we will not have the opportunity to change until Week 5. So let's talk about what happened in the Week 3 matchup between the Washington Redskins and the Cincinnati Bengals. The game started with a bang, a loud, resounding bang. All I could say was, wow. As the first play of the game saw the Bengals come out in a Wildcat formation and have their Wildcat rookie receiver, who doubled as a Wildcat receiver in college at Rutgers, Mohamed Sanu, throw a 73-yard touchdown pass to the one person you could not allow to run free in your secondary, Mr. A.J. Green, who we allowed to be matched up with one-on-one with Dijon Gomes, a safety that had no business being matched up one-on-one with A.J. Green. Simple as that, touchdown. Not even 30 seconds into the game, we were already down 7-0. Doesn't get much easier than that. Perfect execution on the part of the Cincinnati Bengals. Caught us sleeping, caught us napping, caught us in a mismatch, and took full advantage of it. We get the football, do nothing on our first drive. First 2 runs were excellent by Alfred Morris. But that second run was costly as it saw Trent Williams go down with a knee injury. One that I thought and feared the worst for. Without Trent Williams in the game, we quickly found out that our offensive line is not a good offensive line without Trent Williams. He is without a doubt our best offensive lineman. In my eyes, he is an elite offensive lineman. And when he went down, it was noticeable because Jordan Black got in the game and right away, Robert Griffin III was under siege. Constantly having to run for his life, constantly under pressure, constantly being hit by Michael Johnson and company. Jordan Black had no answer for Michael Johnson. He was beat on speed. He was beat inside. He was beat on bull rushes. It didn't matter. He could not contend with Michael Johnson out there at defensive end. So we punted. Good thing for us, our punter is Sav Rocker, and he does a great job of pinning teams inside their own 10-yard line. Something he did a lot last year, something he did in this game. Well, the Bengals were pinned at their own 1-yard line, proceeded to try to run, as we did not all day. We did not have them running the football. The one thing you can't say about our defense is that we don't stop the run. We do stop the run. We don't do a lot of things on defense, but stopping the run is not one of them. And so Ryan Kerrigan put pressure on the Red Rifle Andy Dalton, forcing him into an errant throw that went right into the waiting arms of linebacker Rob Jackson, who was out in coverage on the running back in the flats, who picked off the pass in the end zone for a touchdown. Just like that, 7-7 tie ball game. New life for the Redskins, brand new game. Start over. However, it did not take long for the Cincinnati Bengals to start over, as it was apparent from that opening play from scrimmage, we could not stop them in the passing game. We did not get enough pressure on Andy Dalton throughout the course of the day. We could not stop A.J. Green throughout the course of the day. And you knew it was only a matter of time before Andrew Hawkins got a hold of us in that secondary with his speed, his shiftiness, and got away from us and scored a touchdown. You knew it was going to happen. What you didn't account for was for us to call a zero blitz and have Mr. Wilson, Josh Wilson, our best cover corner, to take a bad, horrendous angle on an out route and allow the Bengals' second receiver, Armand Benz, to easily trounce and pounce into the end zone from 40 yards out. That is not what you expected to happen. But when you come with a zero blitz, man-to-man across the board, and someone gets beat, there's no help. So you best take good angles, which he did not, and he paid for it. Touchdown. Down 14-7, just like that. Our offense was stuck in the mud in the first half. Couldn't get it going. Couldn't run the ball as effectively as we would have liked. And I thought we actually ran the ball pretty good and still did not stick with it. But we could not pass to save our lives. A lot of that had to do with the injury to Trent Williams and the amount of pressure that was being put on Robert Griffin III. However, the offense was out of sync. We did not look like the team that had just scored 40 on the Saints, that had just scored 28 on the Rams. We looked like a shell of ourselves in the first half on the offensive side of the football. Did not matter, however, because the defense was making up for the offense's lack of scoring by allowing the Cincinnati Bengals to score at will. There was enough points to go around for everyone, but the problem was the defense was allowing the Cincinnati Bengals to just keep scoring and not spread it around. So the Bengals ended up with 24 points in the first half. Luckily enough, we were able to put together a last-second drive before the half, get a field goal, and cut the deficit to 14 points going into the half. Would have been nice to have been able to punch that one in for a touchdown, but you take points any way you can get them in this league. And so we went to halftime with a 24-10 deficit. What was evident in that first half is that, one, we are not a good, crisp, tackling football team. We missed way too many tackles. We allowed too many yards after the catch, too many yards after first initial contact. And we are not good at getting off the field on third downs. Too many times, too often, the Cincinnati Bengals found themselves in second and third and long and were able to get completions to either cut it to third and short or to pick up the first down altogether. There were several times where they had holding penalties on first down or on second down, made it second and long, or got sacked on first down or second down and made it third and long, and were able to find Jermaine Gresham over the middle of the field, or were able to find A.J. Green out wide. Take advantage of our secondary and our lack of pressure and complete passes and extend drives. We have to be better at getting off the field on third down. We have to be better at holding teams down and not giving them 11 yards on second and 20 and allowing them to get into third and 9 or get into third and 7 when you had them at second and 20. Do a better job of making third and long. But we didn't do that in the first half, and that's why the Bengals ended up with 24 points on the scoreboard. Not to mention, the offense could not sustain a drive, continuously putting the defense back on the field, as tired as they were. And as good as that Bengals offense was moving the football, you didn't want to see the defense continuously being put on the field. But that's exactly what happened. But this game was a tale of two halves. And so there was still another half of football to play. And when the Redskins took the field in the second half, they received the ball first and proceeded to march down the field on a beautiful drive made by in-game adjustments, halftime adjustments made by the Shanahans to a triple option offense that saw Robert Griffin III run the option with Brandon Banks in the backfield along with Alfred Morris. So you didn't know where the ball was going. You didn't know if Robert was going to keep it, if Alfred was going to get it, or if Robert was going to pitch it to Brandon Banks. It had success. It worked. It put a lot of pressure on his defense. And what it also did was it exposed our quarterback to a lot of hits. More than he needs to be exposed to. And so we have to find more creative ways, more better ways to get our quarterback, to get the ball in the hands of playmakers without exposing him to annihilation. This is the National Football League. This is not college football. This is not the Big 12. You cannot expose your quarterback to repeated hits from these big, fast, strong linebackers, defensive linemen, and safeties and think that he's going to survive a full 16-game schedule. Not going to happen. So while I was pleased we began to move the football, I was not pleased to see our prized possession, our quarterback of the future, our franchise QB being repeatedly thrown to the ground, taking shot after shot after shot after shot after shot, just so we can move the ball down the field. If we can't be an offense that can move the football down the field without exposing our quarterback repeatedly to hits, then we're not a good football team. We know Robert Griffin III has a special talent, has a special set of skills that not many possess in the National Football League. But that does not mean you abuse him, use him, and have him out there taking hits left and right because you can, because he can. Because after a while, he can't. He won't. And we will be right back where we were last year. So something must be done. But however, in this game, it worked to perfection as the Redskins went down the field, got a touchdown to Santana Moss. Got back into the ball game. Got a touchdown with Alfred Morris, tied the football game up. The momentum was on the Redskins' side at this point. It was a tie ball game, 24-24. The Bengals had no answer on the defensive side of the ball for the Redskins' offense. And their offense was starting to struggle against this Redskins defense, who was starting to turn it up. Next thing you know, the Redskins did something no other team has been able to do against Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, which was force him to fumble the football in his NFL career. The Redskins were able to rip it out, and again, these replacement officials, for the second out of 3 weeks, stopped the Redskins from advancing a turnover, probably for a touchdown, to the end zone because they want to call the runner down. Let the play out, and if you want to go and change it after it is reviewed, you may do so. Stop hindering us from going and scoring touchdowns when they are there to be scored. These replacement officials are making critical errors at the wrong time of the game. They gave us the ball, but they said that we were down. They didn't even give us a chance to run. They said the runner was down at first, and then went back and changed it and said that, no, he fumbled, but it's our ball. We can't advance it at this point. The whistle was blown. Another blunder by these officials. Nonetheless, the momentum was on our side, and at that point, I thought we were going to score more points. We had scored on 2 consecutive possessions, 3 if you want to date back to the first half when we got the field goal. And so I thought there was no way they were going to be able to stop us having great field position like the defense just gave us. But I was wrong. We went backwards. We did not take advantage of it and had to punt. Then we get the ball back again after stopping the Bengals on defense once again. And we drive all the way down, but instead of Mike Shanahan exhibiting the confidence that he's shown in the past to go for it on 4th down and short, he elected to punt. And this is the new thing. When Mike Shanahan decides to go for it, just call timeout. If you're the opposing coach, just call timeout. He'll go against his better judgment, second guess himself, and decide to punt or kick a field goal. Whatever the situation calls for, he'll change his mind, however. You don't have to worry about us going for it, which is what you want. You don't want the Redskins going for it because we're going to pick it up. With our dynamic quarterback, our tough, in between the tackles running back, it's going to be tough to stop us from getting a yard, from getting inches. So, yeah, you want to call a timeout if we decide to go for it because Mike Shanahan is going to second guess himself and decide to kick, whether it's a field goal or a punt. He's going to decide to not go for it, which I thought was a terrible decision on his part. We had the momentum. We knew this was going to be a game that we were going to have to outscore the Cincinnati Bengals. We weren't going to win this game 27-24. You knew that. And the opportunity was there for us to score another touchdown. Take it. Go for it on 4th down. So what if they stop us? They were moving the football on us anyway. Would you think an extra 20 yards of field position was going to stop them, slow them down? No. So we elected to punt after the timeout. Sav Rocca did his best to try to pin them inside the 5. It didn't work. And then Mike Shanahan compounded matters, made it worse by using his last timeout on a challenge to challenge that the ball didn't go in the end zone, which it did. And so he used the last timeout that we had, squandering it on a challenge that I thought he should have never used in the first place. There was no reason to challenge that play. It was clear from the Jumbotron and the shot that he was probably looking at on the field that it did touch the line. We had but one timeout remaining. So at that point, it had to be something that you knew definitively that it was correct and that you were going to win in order to use that last challenge. We only had one timeout remaining. We used 2 of them foolishly earlier in the second half, and so we didn't have but one left. And if you're going to use it, you must know that you're going to be able to keep it. Having one timeout left in the second half, you had to treat that one timeout like a precious jewel. And we didn't do that. Timeouts in the second half are precious. And we didn't have but one left. So for him to use it on something that clearly was obvious that we weren't going to win, I thought was bad coaching on the part of Mike Shanahan. And so we were left with no timeouts. The Bengals got the ball at 20 and they proceeded to march down the field on an 80-yard drive, culminating in a touchdown pass to Jermaine Gresham, taking the lead and taking it for good. As we got the football back again, did nothing with it, punted, and then saw what I knew was going to happen eventually. Andrew Hawkins go, catch a pass, and scamper into the end zone, making it a 14-point deficit for us against the Cincinnati Bengals. Left with no timeouts, facing a 14-point deficit, Robert Griffin III did the only thing he knew how to do best, and that was bring the Washington Redskins back by any means necessary. If that meant running and taking shots or throwing the football and delivering it with his arm, he was going to do so in order to give us a chance. So we marched down the field with no timeouts remaining, get a touchdown, cut the deficit to one score. Proceed to kick an onside kick, which I disagreed with. I felt like if you're going to get a stop, why not have it be at the opposing team's 27-yard line instead of at your own 41, which is going to pin you deep and make you have to go 89 yards, make you have to go 87 yards for a score. How about you just kick it deep? If they're going to be conservative, they're going to be conservative whether they're at, and more so, if they're at their own 20, they're going to be conservative more so than if they're at their opposing or the Redskins 41. They're definitely going to try to be more aggressive, don't you think? So kicking off the ball, I thought was the right thing to do. We did not do that. We kicked an onside kick. Almost got it. Touched it too soon. However, I thought that was the wrong decision. So they went conservative, went to run the clock out, ran the ball 3 times, punted, which gave us a long field. But that was no problem for Robert Griffin III. He calmly and convincingly took this team down the field. And with about 24 seconds or so remaining in the game, had the Redskins at the Bengals' 19-yard line. First and goal, or first down from the 19 with a chance to tie the ball game up. And then we self-destructed. A sack that pushed us back about a good 17 yards, coupled with a false start penalty by Fred Davis. Then an ensuing unsportsmanlike conduct on someone that remained nameless throughout the game, which we later found out was probably Kyle Shanahan, was called. And then we ended up from first and 10 from the 19, the Bengals 19, to first or third and 70 from the Bengals, 37. At this point, the Hail Mary was all but out of the question. We tried it anyway. It didn't work. We lost the football game. And, of course, there was controversy to end the game. The Bengals and the commentators, none of them knew the rules. I hate when our games are on CBS because the CBS guys, to me, don't know the game of football. Kevin Harlan, and I expected much better out of Solomon Wilcox. They're talking about Terrence Newman touching the ball that Sal Rocca punted. After we touched it, and he tried to pick it up and he touched it, then the Redskins went trying to pounce on it. Once the kicking team touches the football, the receiving team can pick it up and do whatever they want with it without any penalty. So if Terrence Newman picked it up and fumbled, it'd still be Bengals football. They can do whatever they want at that point. So the commentators did not know this, and so they're talking about Terrence Newman. Oh, he's so lucky the ball went out of bounds, and yeah, he sigh of relief. No, you don't know the rules. Shut your mouth. Same thing with the end of the game. The officials didn't know the rules, and neither did the commentators during the game. You don't have a 10-second runoff if the clock is not running. We spiked the ball, stopped the clock, then had a penalty. You don't have a 10-second runoff after that. So not knowing the rules was prevalent in this game because the officials didn't know what was going on. The announcers didn't know what was going on. Either way, it amounted to a loss for the Redskins, 38-31 against the Cincinnati Bengals, dropping our record to 1-2, taking the Bengals to 2-1. A game that at home you expect to get, we didn't, and we're not a good football team, especially on the defensive side of the football. We have a lot of work to do, and we're in trouble. On defense, we are in trouble. Until we can stop teams from throwing the football on us at will, we're going to be in trouble for many weeks to come. Looking at our offensive line, if Trent Williams is not okay, we are in trouble. Because our offensive line cannot function without Trent Williams out there anchoring us at left tackle. We see that that's going to be a problem moving forward. And so, that was a very disheartening loss if you're a Redskins fan. But no worries. Still a young season. We've only played 3 ball games. We're only 1-2. And so there's a lot of football left to be played. But there's a lot of questions to be asked. Mainly, can our quarterback hold up after taking the pounding that he takes week in and week out? Can this defense get it together? And is our offensive line about to fall to shambles and fall to pieces on us, as it has in the last 2 seasons? These are all questions that we have moving forward. But nonetheless, I am the Warpath Warrior, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskin spirit will never die. My Redskin spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, my friends, take care and hail to the Redskins.
I am the